my fellow indigenous Ugandans and citizens of the world. I'm here today to discuss again the genocide, the issue of genocide in Uganda, the issue of genocide generally in Africa by African dictators that have been put in power by foreign governments, African dictators that are committing genocide on the citizens of Africa. I chose to make this issue a worldwide issue because I have been let down, as again I've said other times, by my own fellow Africans, and especially the Organization of African Unity, today called African Union. I would have expected that the African Union would have entities that investigate the living conditions and political situations in the different parts of Africa, and also have agents within African countries for the purpose of keeping watch on the leaders that are oppressing African citizens. I've also said this because within my own country of Uganda, our government has been taken over by Rwandese, Burundian, Tutsi refugee usurper dictatorship, which is the so-called government of Uganda. In reality, it is an occupying Rwandese, Burundian, Tutsi refugee clique that is backed by Britain and Israel. For those who don't know, the British ambassador, what is called so-called Commonwealth in Uganda, had the audacity to praise the Rwandese Tutsi refugee usurper of the Uganda government by calling him a stabilizer in the entire region. A stabilizer in the entire region. Yet this is a man who killed over 1.5 million indigenous Ugandans in order for a refugee group to usurp a government of a host country. My country, Uganda. Our country, Uganda. It is the British that groomed these Rwandese Tutsis that we had, as Uganda, kindly helped. Allowed to go to schools. Many of them were allowed to live with their relatives who were already in Uganda, who had come many years before as economic refugees, because Ugandan economy was better than Rwanda. Rwanda is a poor, small country. So many of them, when they ran out of Rwanda, they encountered people who were not hostile to them. I've many times told the world and Ugandans that in my own region of Toro, where I was born, we helped the Rwandese. I saw them when they came in 1960. That's why it hurts me a lot to see that the people that we help are the ones killing Ugandans in a way that I would never have expected. Because these people speak our languages. These people, we've gone to school with them, yet they are the people that the British found fit to usurp a government of another country that had helped them. While this should hurt everybody in Uganda, well, this should be felt by a lot of Ugandans. Certainly they feel it. But well, a lot of Ugandans should be really angry at what has happened to our country. Many of them are afraid to say so. Many of them are afraid because of the level of violence that this very insecure minority, the level of insecurity, the level of fear this minority has towards indigenous Ugandans if they know or if they really put their heart to it and start a campaign against them for having usurped their government. So what have they done? They have used the most violent means: rape, torture, poisoning, accidents, mass killings. And all this has gone unnoticed by the world. Was it unnoticed because they didn't know it was happening? No. They know it's happening. It's just because the people involved in supporting these people are the people who control the world English news media. And they are the ones who have influence in the United Nations. So the genocide that took place in Uganda before even the Rwanda genocide was covered up because the British wanted to use this small one, this Tutsi minority, to take over the government of Uganda, which they had failed to do themselves because our kings fought them vigorously and forced them to settle for a protectorate. So we were not a colony of Britain, we were a protectorate, even though they pushed their weight around to make you feel like, oh well, they own the country. But in reality, our kings did not let them take our land like they did in other countries. It's like the British have had jealousy towards the people of Uganda. They have had envy. They have had animosity towards the people of Uganda for having stopped them from colonizing the country and taking the land. So they figured another way, and that way was to use a Rwandese Tutsi refugee group to take over the government of Uganda through murder, genocide. As I said already, 1.5 million Ugandans were killed before they usurped the government. In order for them to usurp the government, they know that they killed 1.5 million people through all sorts of deceptions, through impostering as members of different tribes of Uganda. They even convinced the king of the most prominent majority tribe of Uganda, the Baganda, to support the war against dictatorship in Uganda. Because the people of Uganda were tired of dictatorship of Idi Amin, dictatorship of Obote. Indigenous Ugandans wanted dictatorships over so we could develop our country. Little did our people know that the Rwandese Tutsis had been set up by the British, impostering as indigenous Ugandans from different parts of Uganda. Many were led to think that they were only from Western Uganda, but most of them were also settled in the most prominent and majority tribe of Baganda, become Baganda sleeper cells, become Rwandese sleeper cells among Buganda kingdom, which is Kabaka, the Kabaka of Buganda, or the Kabakaship of Buganda. Kabaka is equal to king in English, where the Kabaka of Buganda, in fact, helped to bring the Rwandese Tutsis in power, because he didn't know that these people were actually Rwandese. He thought these people were Ugandan from Ankole, Ugandans from Western region, and Ugandans from Buganda, Ugandans from different regions who were opposed to our brothers from the north who had been oppressing us. In fact, now we look back and say that we asked to have a worse dictatorship than what we had even of Amin, even of Obote. This dictatorship has been oppressing Ugandans for 35 years. 35 years. Having said that, I hope now you have a picture of what I'm talking about. 1.5 million people were killed, and these people were killed among the Baganda people. Because these Rwandese Tutsis had lived among us, they knew the power, the knowledge, the education that the Baganda had. And they are really the defining group in Uganda for any leadership to succeed, the Baganda. So these Rwandese were very conniving, very evil. They killed the prominent Baganda who even helped them to defeat the dictatorship of Idi Amin and Obote. This is how evil it gets. These are our fellow Africans. And that's why I've decided to call upon the entire world to help stop genocide in Africa. Because the genocide going on did not stop only in Uganda. When 1.5 million were killed for the Rwandese Tutsis to take over, being used by the British with their spy agent, now we know, through the dictator himself, telling us that the guy who helped him to take over the government of Uganda, the Ajit propagandist for his war, so-called fake anti-dictatorship Bush war, was actually a British MI6 agent, William Pike. In fact, this man has been in the news recently. He even wrote a book against to preempt and also to do damage control of what this man is all about, William Pike. So Museveni killed Baganda even before they knew he was killing them. It's soon after the war we realized that the country had been taken over by refugees from Rwanda, who had imposed as people from Western Uganda. I'm here today to discuss what this man who killed 1.5 million people in Luwero Triangle, Buganda, just recently came and said on national television. This man said that any Baganda talking about we the Baganda, he is going to crush them. And this time, he confirmed what I've been telling everybody and what other people have said, that indeed this man committed genocide on the Baganda in the Luwero Triangle before he came to power in 1986, while living among them, deceiving them that he was fighting to end dictatorship in Uganda. My fellow indigenous Ugandans and citizens of the world, we have to do something about this man very urgently. Because right now, a few days ago, he came and warned the Baganda people, the most prominent and most prominent and majority tribe of Uganda, and warned them that he is going to crush them, just like he did before. He said it with his own words. And here I am. I've been even taken off sometimes on Facebook because I talked about the genocide in Uganda, because I talked about the Tutsi genocide against indigenous Ugandans. I talked about the Tutsi genocide, the Tutsi caused genocide in Rwanda, the Rwandese Tutsi refugees. Not all Tutsis. Not all Tutsis. It's the Tutsis from Uganda, the refugees, that got knowledge from Uganda because they managed to enter into Ugandan military and Ugandan intelligence. And some of these selfish guys, Obote, the dictator, had recruited them, some of them, in the army because they could do efficient killing for him of indigenous Ugandans. Because they knew they had no feelings for indigenous people. They were survivors. They were people who were refugees, had nothing. So here they are being given position in the Ugandan military intelligence for the purpose of committing murders on behalf of the two dictatorships. They managed to deceive their way into the different tribes because we are hospitable people. We allow them to live among us, learn the languages, even marry among us. Some of us have children that we've helped that are half Rwandese, half our Ugandans. Yet the Rwandese put all this aside and decided to betray Ugandans, hand over the country's economy to the Indians, whereby the dictator himself unashamedly told the visiting Indian Prime Minister that the Indians own 80% of the top businesses in Uganda. Imagine a leader of an African country telling an Indian Prime Minister. And we see in India, African people are being oppressed. Afro-Indians, the original Indians, inhabitants, are on the last totem pole in India. They're in the 4th class in the caste system. But the Indians in Uganda also are racist towards Ugandans. Yet, this man gives these men who are really racist against Africans, gives them the control of the economy of the country. This is how bad it is in Africa. That's why I'm saying that we need everybody in the world. We need all good citizens of the world. Good citizens of the world and good citizens of Uganda. Because we have a lot of Ugandans that are bad people. We have a lot of citizens of the world that are bad people, that their goal is to exploit other people, kill other people. So I'm looking for those people who tell us slavery is over and they think it's over. yet it's not. They say colonialism is over, they think it's over, yet it's not. So if you're true and sincere in your heart that you want slavery, colonialism to end in Africa, to oppression, racism to end, then I call upon you as a good citizens of the good citizens of the world to join African people, to join indigenous Ugandans, so we can get rid of the Rwandese genocidal, psychotic serial killers of our people. Many of you don't know that Museveni, Kagame, and Kabila, all of them came from Uganda. They acquired military education from Uganda. And the British knew that. And they used this little small group of Rwandese Tutsi refugees with money, guns, horrible killings, putting fear of death in people's minds to kill and take over the government of Uganda, take over the government of Rwanda, cause the genocide in Rwanda, yet they were also participants of genocide in Rwanda. Sorry, they were not condemned for the genocide of Rwanda. It was only the people they had invaded, the Hutus who they had invaded, who are the majority of Rwanda, that unfortunately I can't say many of them, unfortunately, those in the military and those in the militias decided to commit genocide on the Tutsis. But the Tutsis had already engineered that to take place, just like they engineered the genocide in Uganda before they took over the government of Uganda and used the Ugandan military power to take over the government of Rwanda. This information must come out. Because if we don't, this man Museveni has come out on national TV and told the people of Uganda to scare them that he's going to kill and crush the Baganda who dare talk of who they are. How can somebody say that if you say we the Baganda, he's going to kill you for you? So he's going to kill you for that. Museveni has said it. Enough is enough. I'm calling upon indigenous Ugandans especially. Please, you who are there, who have been bought, who are scared, give up your fear, which I see already in Uganda. I see the young people. I thank the young people of Uganda, the youth of Uganda, who, unfortunately, some of them are willing even to die because the pain is so much. One young man burned himself to death. It did not make news. It did not make news. When it happened in Tunisia, it made news. But when it happens in Uganda, they keep it out. Because Uganda is a rich country with oil, gold, diamond, agriculture, and Britain and its Western allies want to take over Uganda, use Ugandan military, take over Rwanda, and use Rwanda as a satellite because Rwanda has nothing, and then use Rwanda and Uganda, the Rwandese who control Uganda, and the Tutsis who came from Uganda now control Rwanda. Mind you, they are a minority. They are a minority. Many people are afraid. Some people say, oh, how can you say that they're going to kill you? I say, no, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready for that. By the power of the Creator Almighty, for I stand the truth, they will not kill me. They will not kill me. And if they do, they will be doomed forever, here on earth and their afterlife. I truly believe in the power of the Almighty. I truly believe in the power of the Almighty. I truly believe in the power of the Almighty. Because this has gotten so far. This has gotten too far. How can this dictator come openly and warn the people of Baganda, the Ugandan people? In fact, the warning to Baganda means it's a warning to all of us indigenous Ugandans. And any Ugandans who sits comfortable, because Museveni said, any Muganda who says, we be the Baganda, is an enemy of Uganda, enemy of Baganda, enemy of the world. This man Museveni must be gotten out of power immediately. This man should not be even allowed to be on the ballot for the 2021 elections. He should not. He's killed far too many people. As we speak now, up to now, he has killed about 3 million Ugandans. He has killed almost 2 million people in Acholi. Almost 2 million people in Acholi that he has killed. 2 million people he has killed in Acholi. So it's up to us indigenous Ugandans and the good citizens of the world to reveal this information So this man does not actually carry out what he has promised to do to the people of Uganda, mainly the prominent and majority tribe of Uganda, the Baganda people. We should not allow Museveni to get away with this. And Britain must be brought to bear. Britain must be brought to account for what they caused to happen in Uganda. And it's very, very, very wrong for Ugandan leaders now, especially in the opposition, to ignore revealing this information. We know why the information of the Rwandese takeover of the Ugandan government has been kept a secret. It's because these same Rwandese Tutsis who took over the government of Uganda also took over Ugandan opposition politics. And these are the people you hear Dr. Besigye, Muntu, General Muntu, General Mbabazi, Byanyima. All these people were in the bush. They are all Rwandese, Burundian Tutsis. The Tutsis from Burundi, the Tutsis from Rwanda colluded to kill the people of Uganda and usurp the government of Uganda. This information must be brought up, especially at this time when Museveni has openly warned the Baganda people that he's going to crush them, like he crushed them before. I wish I could play that piece. He warned the Baganda people that he will crush them like he crushed them before. This is wrong, and it's up to us indigenous Ugandans to do something about it. Us indigenous Ugandans who should warn the world that come 2021 elections, this dictator, this Tutsi dictator, is planning to commit genocide, which he has already started. We see him killing supporters of People's Power. If I can, let me see if I can, if you can listen to it, please. Here it is. Let me see if you can.
Here in Uganda, talking Baganda, you know he's an enemy of Baganda, number one. And secondly, an enemy of Uganda and an enemy of Africa. And we shall crush those enemies as we have done in the past. You preach your nonsense, we shall answer you by word. And if you go beyond word and want something else, you'll also get it. This is not the first time.
I'll play this again, please. I apologize.
You know he's an enemy of Baganda, number one. If you hear a Muganda talking Baganda, you know he's an enemy of Baganda, number one. And secondly, an enemy of Uganda and an enemy of Africa. And we shall crush those enemies as we have done in the past. You preach your nonsense, we shall answer you by word. And if you go beyond word and want something else, you'll also get it. This is not the first time. If you hear a Muganda talking Baganda, you know he's an enemy of Baganda, number one. And secondly, an enemy of Uganda and an enemy of Africa. And we shall crush those enemies as we have done in the past. You preach your nonsense, we shall answer you by word. And if you go beyond word and want something else, you'll also get it. This is not the first time.
Okay, so you've heard this man. You've heard this man say himself. You've heard this man say himself. I'm sorry, I'm just a rookie at this, if you don't mind. But I'm trying to show you what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that this man is a killer. He has said it here in himself because now he's feeling the heat of the young Ugandans that are supporting Honorable Kyagulanyi. He's feeling the heat because these young Ugandans, the People Power movement in Uganda is led by the youths of Uganda that actually have suffered the most. 80% of them don't have work because of this evil Rwandese Tutsi British neo-colonial puppet. This man, Museveni, he has been in power for 35 years. It's very disturbing to know that this man has been in power for 35 years, yet we see in places like Guyana, in places in Suriname, the Western countries, EU, Canada, Britain, UK, even America under the neoliberal Carter Center, forced the black people of Guyana to hand over power to a minority Indian group. They are minority. Indians are not majority of Guyana. They are actually 40%. When you take the population of black Guyanese and black Surinamese, the black people are the majority. Yet there was a campaign to take over power from African people, African South Americans, the only people that rule those countries. In all of South America, black people are under undeclared form of apartheid. Undeclared form of apartheid. In Brazil especially, black people are majority. Over 60% of population of Brazil is black. But these same countries have never told Brazil to give political power or to allow black people to participate in political power positions. No. But yet they went to Guyana, they went to Suriname, they stereotyped or character assassinated the leaders there as the bad leaders. How come, okay, if they think those leaders were bad, why are they keeping quiet of a dictator in Africa? So, from a minority group, by the way, a small minority group, to murder, torture, commit genocide on his fellow Africans. Why? Because in this case, the resources of the Great Lakes region are needed by the entire world. This should not be caused to kill Africans. The white world, the white systemic racists, can work with African people to still have access to those resources. But in their own evil towards African people, which has been slavery, which has been rape, which has been colonialism, which is racism that we see because of brother George Floyd. They do not want black people to have self-empowerment. Yet they come and despise us for not working, for not doing this, for not doing that. Yet our people did all the work to build America, to build South America. And yet those people are even taken out of power in countries where they are the majority. When you put black people of Guyana with the mixed race black people in Guyana, black people are the majority, the Indians are only 40%. In Brazil, the black people are over 60% of the population of Brazil. They have no power at all. Only 2% go to university. My question is, my fellow citizens of the world, my fellow indigenous Ugandans, my fellow good citizens of the world, this is why it disturbs me. I stay sleepless nights wondering, why could this happen to us? Why could someone hate us so much? To want us to die in Africa? To die in Brazil? To have no power in Guyana? To have no power in Suriname? To be expelled from countries in Europe? To be expelled even here in America? A lot of Africans are being expelled because of immigrant situations. Instead of them saying, okay, we've done so much damage to African people, black people in the world, let them have this piece of action at least. Let them have some power at least. Let the Guyanese, black Guyanese also be part of the new wealth that is coming in Guyana and Suriname. No, because in Guyana and Suriname, they found huge reserves of oil, and they don't want these huge reserves of oil to be in the hands of black people, or to be black people be the people in power. So they've decided to hand the power to the Indians in Suriname, where Suriname, the Indians make up only 25% of the population. In Guyana, the Indians make up only 40% of the population. They have character assassinated the leadership that has not committed genocide, with the exception of the leader in Suriname who killed 15 people for political competition, whatever it was, which is unfortunate. It's sad. He should be held accountable. But to try to give power to a minority Indian group, give power to the minority Indian group in Guyana, where huge results on both of these countries have been found, we see total psychosis towards the black race. This evil must stop. This evil is what is hurting Africa today. That's why I always say I like President Trump, because he says what he feels. When President Trump called African countries shithole countries, we Africans who come from those countries understood what he meant. A lot of people didn't understand what he meant. However, those shithole countries are there because of Europe, Britain, France, and Israel. And in fact, former American administrations who have killed African leaders, they are dead, say we want our freedom, we want to have self-determination both economically and politically. These people have been killed, only to put dictators that were backed by Britain, France, Germany, and Israel, and Holland, and Portugal. One country, and Spain in Equatorial Guinea. These issues have to be discussed. We are talking about Black Lives Matter, and some people don't even understand what Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, as I've said, is a valid statement, because black people are being killed all over the world and it's being covered up. That's why Black Lives Matter. We've lost 15 to 20 million Africans in Uganda, Rwanda, and Congo because of this small group that was brainwashed by the Belgians to think that because they have straight noses, they are not black. Imagine that. And they actually believed it. And now they have stretched it to saying that they are Jews. And that's why we saw the Israeli Prime Minister go there and visit these killers of Ugandans, Museveni. And Kagame, you see him all over the world being put up as the new leader of Africa. They've given him money to build little Rwanda, which has nothing, because he's stealing all the resources from Congo. He has even gold refining industry in Rwanda, where Rwanda has no gold. Rwanda has no resources, only agricultural land. Little country. They've taken this country and turned it into saying the new IT place of Africa, because this man has agreed to sell away his own fellow Africans, because he has been brainwashed to think that somehow his straight nose makes him not African. And if so, he says that they are the ones who are supposed to rule Africa or rule black Africans because of their straight nose, and that the Africans have turned them black. That's how the Belgians brainwashed these guys. They were nothing but a bunch of herdsmen. They had cows, even today. Even when they are the leaders of Africa in Uganda and Rwanda, the cow is a big thing. They keep grazing cows all over, destroying our environment. Uganda environment has been destroyed. Uganda forestry has been destroyed. They've taken our people, the Twa, the very well-known people from the times of Egypt, the Twa people. They've taken them out of their natural habitat. Their natural environment, they've been taken out of the Tutsi forest. They've been taken out of their region of the Tutsi forest. Let me put it that way. Now they are suffering out. They have no aimlessly. They're out and about. They have no government supporting them. These Twa people were okay in the forest, but the Rwandese Tutsi refugees with their cows are grazing the forest down, cutting the forest down, selling them to Indians and Chinese. The British brought them in power, but now they're catching up with the Chinese. And that's why sometimes you hear them complain, the British and European complaining about the Chinese, but they are the ones who thought that they can work the Chinese to be the middlemen of African resources. But it's also sometimes also at the same time it's backfiring on them. Excuse me. Sometimes my language, my African language, interferes with the English language. But I hope you understand me. So this is the situation in the Great Lakes region of Africa. Uganda, Rwanda, Congo, Central Africa, South Sudan. This is going on. Genocide of horrible, horrible proportion is taking place in Africa, and the Western media has shut it down. And for me as an African, that's why I'm saying I support President Trump's goal and his UN speech of sovereignty of nations. His speech about sovereignty of nations, which didn't fare well with the European neo-colonizers like Britain and France. So for Africa, I find President Trump as the man. Yes, he's competing for power with other Americans, powerful white men with a lot of money. But I think President Trump would be a better choice for Africa. Will be a better choice for Africa in terms of how America would deal with African dictators. Because the other regimes, the other governments of America, the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bushes, the Reagans, actually brought these Rwandese Tutsis in power and kept financing them until recently Trump came to power. Before Trump came to power, he promised not to support dictators in Africa. And believe me, that gained Trump a lot of friends in Africa. It's unfortunate that here in America, we are seeing this situation where many African Americans are very afraid of the president. Not, I would say, some Americans, some African Americans. I'm saying some African Americans because I would have expected that African Americans, knowing what Trump is doing, they would support President Trump if they really knew what is going on behind the scenes and what we Africans have seen happen to our country. Here in America, we see a death of George Floyd has caused demonstrations, caused people to unite of all races to oppose what happened to George Floyd. But in Africa, genocide of millions, tortures, rapes of women it has been taking place for over 20 years now. Since 1986. No, since 1981. From the time the Rwandese Tutsis were being supported by William Pike, a British Ajit propagandist journalist in the bush, setting them up as the future leaders of Africa, to the time now, to this time. Millions of Africans have died. Here in America, it's sad. Yes, there is racism. Yes, police brutality is here. My dear, it does not come nowhere to the kind of violence, rape, genocide that is taking place in Africa. So when people talk about Black Lives Matter in America, it is a right statement. And here in America, black people have their own issues of being discriminated. Black people being killed by cops. And unfortunately, the cops in Africa are trained by American police, American military. And they use the same techniques on their own people, even worse. Worse than in America. In America, this violence is controlled. But in Africa, there's nobody to control. The dictators are killing their fellow Africans like you never saw before. So that's what has led me to say we need all the good citizens of the world to come and work with us against the genocide in Africa. Let us stop genocide in Africa. We can still work together, live together. America, all other countries can share in our resources. We can share in their knowledge. They can share in our knowledge, and we can all have peace on this earth. We do not have to support one group against the other, like what the British and the former American governments have been doing, supporting one group to kill another group so that one group can step over the other, rule the country. We ask everybody, please, we need peace in the world. We need peace in Africa, which needs it very badly. Africa needs peace. The killing of George Floyd was horrible. And I'm very grateful to the American people, all American people, for having gone to the defense, unfortunately, of the deceased George Floyd. And it's for that reason I decided to start this YouTube channel to appeal to all the good citizens of the world, to work with African people, to end the genocide in the Great Lakes region, especially in Uganda, Rwanda, and Congo. Don't let them deceive you that Kagame is a good leader. Kagame is killing even his own fellow Tutsis who dare say Kagame is a dictator. Kagame wants to keep control. And the Tutsis are not only that, Kagame and Museveni and cahoots, they have a 50-year Tutsi master plan to take over the entire region and build a Tutsi Hima empire. They added the word Hima because they become the Himas of Uganda after killing the prominent Bahima and also refusing the king of Bahima to come in to be reinstalled. They have become the Bahima. So they rule Uganda under the disguise of being Bahima. They rule Uganda impostering as Bahima. So that's why they've used the word Tutsi Hima 50-year master plan. So they have a Tutsi Hima master plan to control Uganda, the region from Uganda, because Uganda is the center. And in fact, it's centrally located to the areas that Britain, Europe, and of course, certain American interests want to control. But this is wrong. We are 1.3 billion people strong. America, Britain, France, please, if you're thinking of killing Africans or using dictators to kill us, please stop it. We ask you to please stop it. We want peace in Africa. You can come and get our resources. We can work with you. Please stop talking. Please stop deceiving your own people. Please work with Africans to bring peace in Africa. I have hope in America. I have more hope in America because America has done this kind of thing before. America defeated Germany. America defeated Japan, but allowed Japan to develop, become a world power, world economic power. They control South Korea. They allowed South Korea to develop. South Korea now is a world economic power, technological power. Samsung, I'm using Samsung. So why can't America do what their forefathers have done before? Help the economies of Africa, work with the Africans sincerely. I have hope in America. Not in Britain, not in France, not in Portugal, not in Spain. America has a different history. America had to fight for its independence from Britain. So there's a different history. And a different history in the sense that they have shown to have helped those that they had power over, not to undermine their development. So I think America can repeat this same action in Africa. Work with the African people to develop. And please stop genocide in Africa. And right now I see President Trump seems to be the man who promised to do it, and I take him on his word. I think he will do it, and so far he has done some of it. We need we need full sanctions. He has put restrictions on dictators, killer squad police commanders and army commanders. Trump has put restrictions on visas, put restrictions on the access to the money they stole. He has also put on trial the Chinese man who was trying to bribe the Ugandan dictator for the Ugandan oil. And his foreign minister, his Rwandese Tutsi Ugandan foreign minister, his Ugandan foreign minister, Rwandese foreign minister, Rwandese usurper foreign minister of Uganda. That's right. Rwandese usurper foreign minister of Uganda, because both Museveni and Kutesa, who were tried in American courts for getting bribe from Chinese, are Rwandese Tutsi refugee usurpers in the Ugandan government. They've actually usurped the Ugandan government. This information needs to be out there so that Museveni doesn't do what I just showed you. He himself saying that he's going to crush a prominent indigenous Ugandan tribe, a prominent and majority Ugandan tribe, which the Rwandese Tutsis are most scared of. So my fellow indigenous Ugandans, my fellow good citizens of the world, I end this presentation appealing to you to share this to all the people that you know, because this man is evil. He has already killed 3 million Ugandans. He has invaded Rwanda and caused the genocide in Rwanda. Unfortunately, the whole story was not told to the world. It was all blamed on the Hutus, who were the majority people of Rwanda, and who were the leaders in Rwanda, who were invaded by these Tutsis, who took over the government of Uganda through murdering over 1.5 million Ugandans. And also invaded Congo, looted Congo. And guess who covered up the UN report? It's Obama and Susan Rice. So my fellow indigenous Uganda, my fellow citizens of the world, I thank you. Please share this far and wide. I thank you. Goodbye.